But allow me a few minutes to get into the system. Um, Let me do my disclaimer. It's going to take people a few minutes to come in. This is me trying to start this live. This is my third time. So then my picture's not there, and then I have so many open right now. So I'm going to have to go in and delete some of those. So which one do I choose from? Man, what's up, YouTube? What's going on? So that one's probably the last one. And then I'll have to go in and delete the others. So like the video as you guys come in. Just be patient with me because the picture I had up isn't up. And let me see if I can delete that one. Might have to go in and delete it after because what I don't want to do is mess up my live. So come on in, like the video, y'all. YouTube. Okay, so allow me a few seconds to get in to do my disclaimer. I don't know what's going on. We're going to talk hot topics and what's going on in the world. But we're going to get straight into what we need to talk about. So just give me a few seconds. I'm in, but I couldn't get in. It was like doing half of a screen or something. I don't know, but I ain't doing half of a screen. It has to be right. So I don't know what happened to my picture, but it's okay. So all comments are allegedly. Just give me a few seconds to do my disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commas, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. We're going to start here so that way we can get down to what's going on and the possibilities. So we're going to start here.
Afternoon, you may have seen, may have heard New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was indicted by a grand jury on 2 different criminal charges. Combined, if she was found guilty on both, she could be serving 60 years in prison and over $2 million in fines. She campaigned on getting, put that in quotes, Donald Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money.
The days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
And she was indicted on 2 counts. Criminal counts, by the way. Yesterday afternoon, you may have seen, may have heard New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was indicted by a grand jury on 2 different criminal charges. Combined, if she was found guilty on both, she could be serving 60 years in prison and over $2 million in fines. She campaigned on getting, put that in quotes, Donald Trump.
I will to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money.
The days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
And she was indicted on 2 counts. Criminal counts, by the way. Yesterday afternoon, you may have
So let's
seen
continue.
Attorney General Letitia James, a top law enforcement official in New York State. Trump had personally marked her as a target or political enemy for this very indictment, which is now reality. She previously took his company to court in a civil case, a type of enforcement that doesn't carry a possible criminal charge or jail time. And in that civil case, it was practices, one of the things that earned his ire. The new James indictment comes, of course, right after the DOJ's controversial indictment of Trump critic James Comey. Both cases do begin with the legally uphill battle of the president's call for these very charges. That could even doom them if judges find it to be an illegal selective prosecution. And another unusual twist, both are being brought Trump loyalist, attorney Lindsay Halligan. She replaced the Trump prosecutor there who was not bringing either of these cases, a very noticeable gap, and we'll get into that tonight. She could not get any other lawyer to join her unusual indictment against Comey, and today she was back presenting this case to the grand jury alone again.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the videos you guys come in. Thanks for tuning in.
To the grand jury alone again. case is unusual. It effectively tries to drum up a mortgage fraud case against James for one of her homes. Legal experts also note that, like Comey, the case is saddled with this unusual cloud from Trump's incriminating call to indict these very people he views as foes. We've highlighted the names, as you can now see, 2 of the 3 indicted. Halligan has done that just within weeks of this September 20th post. And a word about this post. It is damning for Trump. It admits the plot, and it would at least complicate the legal case, the standing of whether judges find it to be valid before any such indictments were filed. In other words, what you see on your screen, what went across the whole internet, is actually against Donald Trump's interests to have his enemies list be pursued, and in his mind, effectively pursued would mean that it those early hurdles I'm mentioning, that it doesn't look suspicious to a judge. So it was against his interest that this post went public in the first place. And there's new reporting today suggesting he knew it looked bad and didn't want this suspicious prosecution demand to his Attorney General Pam Bondi to go public. And yet, the reason we know about it, if you're saying, okay, it wasn't supposed to be public, he didn't want it to be public, but it was, how did that happen? The news tonight, well, Donald Trump made a major blunder, a kind of an IT or tech blunder, because he took what was meant to be a written secret order for AG Pam Bondi, and we're talking about Watergate level evidence here, and he accidentally put it on the internet. Literally. That is what he did, according to sources who spoke to Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, which broke this story just today, and it further undercuts the new case against James tonight, because again, it suggests this is some kind of baseless vendetta rather than prosecutors finding the crime. Here's that journal piece. They report Trump actually, quote, meant to send a private message to Bondi urging her to prosecute Comey and those other targets. This is the journal reporting. Those targets, as you know tonight, include the now indicted Letitia James. So, plain English, Trump was trying to secretly order Bondi to do these kind of indictments. And even Donald Trump, with whatever he thinks he can get away with, knows that even right now, as some of the courts let him do certain things, admitting that you have an improper enemies list or that these cases are going nowhere, but for you demanding it, is bad for you, bad for those cases. So he tried to address her in private, which some people noted when the post first came out, it seemed odd, because as he would in a private meeting or message, this post online said, Pam, colon, I've reviewed over 30, and he mentions all the references to the same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing's being done. What about Comey, Schiff, Letitia? Reference to James indicted today. They're all guilty as hell, he wrote, but nothing is going to be done. Trump was trying to message, as he calls her, Pam, in secret. But he was then surprised to learn it was public, the journal reports. Bondi also contacted the White House with major concerns about all this spilling out. That now public post is the kind of evidence that Comey's team says they will cite to have the whole case tossed. And that defense or argument will be available to James, who's speaking out about this. The DOJ, clearly roiled by what is a publicly exposed, very possibly illegal effort by a president to call in and have opponents jailed. Regardless of evidence, regardless of if his own aides already, lawyers already in the DOJ said there was no case there, regardless of all of that. This type of approach, politicizing the FBI, abusing power, is what got Nixon ousted. And as a legal matter, what is happening tonight builds the basis to impeach a president. As for the enemies list that we are seeing here, 2 of those 3 in this post have already been swiftly indicted. Charges that are so flimsy, career prosecutors oppose them. And Trump's DOJ is using a range of criminal legal actions against what you see here. Let's show this to you in full, because it's a lot. 6 of Trump's perceived foes, all facing major DOJ legal criminal powers. Home searches, subpoenas, indictments. In the case of Mayor Baraka, an indictment that was so thin, the charge dropped, the case fell apart. But all of this is steamrolling these critics at this early stage. Indeed, one of the individuals you see on the upper right, the very first member of Congress indicted under what now looks like a streak.
Everyone thought
like the video, fair use reaction clip. Please hit subscribe. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Thanks for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's continue.
Congresswoman McIver joins us later tonight, as does a former lawyer for President Trump, Ty Cobb. He's been speaking out about the legal dangers here. So in a way, the Nixonian enemies list is public. And Trump's demands also went public, even if by his own blunder, according to the journal reporting. And his attorney general, or as he calls her, we've now learned, Pam in private. Remember, she vowed very recently under oath there would never be such an enemies list.
I'm questioning you right now about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
That's what she said under oath. Because Pam Bondi, like Donald Trump himself in that recent post, knows there is still a bridge too far. There are still things that'll get you in hot water. There are things that could get your law license revoked. There are things that sooner or later could be impeached or worse if our constitutional system holds. And yes, we all understand their efforts to break it. But she said, quote, under oath, there'll never be an enemies list. Well, Attorney General Bondi, we have your enemies list. Your boss, who you apparently called the White House about, so concerned about his poor phone or tech habits, he leaked it on himself. And you and your team are doing his bidding. And we have to deal with what it means in this country when an enemies list is being pursued like this.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Please like the video as you guys come in. Let's continue with some news.
A couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I go ahead.
Like the video as you guys come in. Let's continue with news. Like the video as you guys come in. There's about 106 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Let's continue.
Social writing. The Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which I need everybody, but especially Donald Trump's own voters, to hear what he posted in some confused late-night screed, because it is revealing on multiple levels. He took to True Social writing, the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam. Do something. President DJT. Now, there are a few really critical points to make here. First off, I want everybody to think really hard about who the president was on January 6, 2021, and in turn, whose administration ran the Department of Justice. That would be Donald Trump. He was the president on January 6, 2021. The whole point of January 6 was that he was trying to prevent Joe Biden from taking office by blocking the certification of Congress. So how could Biden be both a private citizen and also somehow running the Department of Justice against the guy who's claiming the Department of Justice actually belongs to the candidate? If anybody... I'm all ears. The second point that I want to make here is that either the President of the United States truly does not know that he was not president while he was inciting an insurrection to remain president, which, to be clear, is entirely possible. I'm certainly not here to defend the addled mental state of Donald Trump. And by the way, plenty of folks are rightfully mocking him. Gavin Newsom's press office tweeted in a late-night post, Donald Trump does not remember who was president on January 6, 2021. He was. Weirdly shouts, do something, likely at clouds. His mental issues are very bad. But more likely, he knows full well what he's saying, but he simply thinks that his supporters are stupid enough to believe him, even when his lies could not be more apparent. Worth noting here, Donald Trump has so much oozing contempt for the people who trust him, who listen to him, that he is literally sitting here trying to convince them that Joe Biden is responsible for an insurrection that he incited when he was president, as if that information isn't readily accessible. There is no difference here than Donald Trump trying to convince his supporters that 2 + 2 is 5. The truth is right there in front of everybody's faces, and yet he has so much disdain for the people who trust him that he will tell them a bald-faced lie and expect them to just lap it up. Trump may claim to hate the left, but there is truly no one he has more contempt for than his own voters. And lastly, the third point. Notice the words that Donald Trump ends his screed with. Do something. That's not an accident here. I know we might look at this and wonder who he's talking to. He is speaking to an audience of one, and that audience is Pam Bondi, his attorney general. Trump offering up edicts to his AG is nothing new. In fact, it's become the norm for this lawless president. You all remember the public decree that he gave to Pam Bondi just weeks ago. Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially, same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who is never going to do his job. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said, quit, that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there is a great case, and many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer, and it's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. Well, we found out just days ago that that was actually intended to be a private message via Truth Social to his attorney general, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal making that report. He is literally issuing private edicts to Pam Bondi to tell her exactly who to prosecute. I spoke with Mark Elias about the legality of this move. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, the legal issues here make my head hurt because even before you get to that, Brian, this is the president of the United States who is supposed to be using secure communications, right? Like, after all, there are foreign actors who are trying to hack into the White House, trying to learn things. And here it appears that he confused a Truth Social post with, I don't know, what, a DM using Truth Social?
That's the thing. Like, even if it wasn't a public post on Truth Social, it's a Truth Social DM, which is about as secure as, like, you know, basically shouting it from the street corner.
Correct. Also, the White House is subject to the Presidential Records Act, which means that all communications from the president, like, even if the president doodles, like, it's all supposed to be captured for history, and that's a federal law. And something tells me that Donald Trump's Dear Pam DMs on True Social, much like the Signal messages, in all seriousness, that we saw war planning going on among the Vice President and Secretary of State and Defense Secretary. You know, so I don't want to miss the point here that the misuse of communication channels, you know, the willy-nilly nature of how they communicate is a legal issue unto itself before you get to the rest of it. Now, then you asked your question about, well, what about the fact that the President of the United States seems to be dictating to the Attorney General who gets prosecuted? And by the way, you know, if you go back and read what you just read, like
the video, fair use. There's about 124 in the building. Please subscribe. This is major news in regards to information sharing, whether it's public or not public, him not knowing it was going to be public.
And by the way, you know, if you go back and read what you just read, like, we need to prosecute him because we look bad. Like, I'm sorry, what? We need to prosecute someone because our reputation is suffering? So look, this is not just a norms problem. But what Donald Trump is doing here is literally picking out his political. I want you to indict this person. I want you to go after that person. I want to threaten that this person will be put in prison or in jail. I want to say that this member of Congress who was exercising her rights as a member of Congress and doing her job should be indicted. And it is that is not just unprecedented. It is that is not only corrupt and not only in violation of the constitutional rights of the defendants, in violation of the rules of criminal procedure and of criminal law. It is also. Here's the thing, and this is a point made to me originally by Congressman Dan Goldman of New York, who was himself a former federal prosecutor. Good prosecutors who are bringing good cases need to have the confidence of juries and of judges that they are doing it on the up and up, even when defendants in those cases accuse them of wrongdoing. And the problem is, because Donald Trump is engaged in wrongdoing, because Donald Trump is engaged in politically vindictive prosecution, because Donald Trump's Department of Justice does act as an arm of the White House, then frankly, every defendant in every case will now say they are the victim of some political persecution, and they will also say that if they had only paid the White House, you know, or paid tithing to someone, maybe they would have gotten pardoned. And the fact is, it'll be very hard to figure out which is right and which is not right. I mean, like, it'll be easy in some edge cases. It'll be easy if they go after Tish James. It'll be easy if they go after, you know, James Comey. It'll be easy if they go after you. Not that I hope they don't. But there will be a whole bunch of other people who will say, well, maybe they're going after me because of that reason. And so the whole system of checks and balances in our judicial system falls apart. Our whole system of criminal law, which resides on presumption of innocence and juries doing their job and prosecutors doing their job, all collapses. But that's what Donald Trump wants. Donald Trump wants a system that is only under his control. And he is fine with there being these uncertainties as to what is political and not political, because it undermines the legitimacy of any institution that might stand up to him.
And so Trump is trying to do now what he tried to do with his previous edicts to the Attorney General. He is using his position of power to dictate who does or doesn't suffer at the hands of his own Department of Justice, because his goal in office is not to help Americans, not to expand healthcare or lower costs or make housing.
Get the likes up, you guys. We only have 6 likes. The likes should match the views. There's about 133 in the building. Please hit the like button. By double tapping the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Also hit subscribe. Let's see you.
More affordable or raise wages. His goal is to exact revenge on his political opponents, and that is what he's doing right now, with the thinnest of pretexts possible. He will literally fart out this idea that Biden incited January 6th, even though the president was literally Trump himself, because that's all it takes for Trump to have some lame justification to weaponize the government against his opponents. It doesn't even need to make sense. He just needs to say something, anything, and then his little underlings in the law enforcement agencies will scamper off and do his bidding. That is the extent to which this government is utterly lawless, and they are putting it on full display for the entire world to see.
Like the video, like fair use. Stated it's a concern if they're sharing news and he doesn't realize that what he's putting out is going out public. And then for her to say, we're not going after anybody, there's no list, and then allegedly there is a list. So got to be careful what you say. Like the video, fair use, ration clip.
Has arrived.
Thank you, Marianne Rafferty. President Trump is entering the Knesset building. Heavy, hearty handshakes. There he's greeting Steve Witkoff. I believe that was Steve Witkoff, who has been so very involved, the president's personal envoy, in making this day happen. Benjamin Netanyahu now, a handshake and a smile between those two. There have been some tense exchanges between them. President Trump was not happy that the Israelis launched an attack in Qatar, which took out much of the Hamas leadership. The Israelis defend that, said it was necessary, and perhaps it's part of what led.
So I need to also show y'all what was happening at that meeting. Like the video as y'all come in. Look at his face.
That was very efficient. Over and over again. להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף. להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם. להוציא אותו מיד. Sorry for that, Mr. President. Please.
Look at his face.
That was very efficient.
So let's continue. Let's continue with the news. There's about 273 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Let's get the likes up, you guys. The likes should match the views. Double tap the screen as you come in or hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. 273, the likes should match the views. Double tap the screen. Let's continue with the news.
A day that the Israeli hostages finally are being released. President Trump will be speaking to the Israeli parliament, who's going to be signing one of the documents that attend to this day. But it's my understanding that this is not the peace deal that's being signed in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, for obvious reasons. He's in Israel, not in Egypt. The president is going to be signing something. Perhaps our chief national security correspondent, Jennifer Griffin, knows more about what this is. Jennifer?
John, right now, what we are seeing, you're seeing President Trump. He is in the Israeli Knesset. He is signing what looks like a guest book. It's a guest book. I'm trying to read over his shoulder to see what he is writing, but you might have a better view from where you are right now. But clearly, he is being welcomed at the Knesset with highest honors. He will be receiving the Medal of Honor, which is the highest civilian award. Looking on is the Prime Minister of Israel, President Trump, in his with his traditional Sharpie and very recognizable handwriting, is writing what looks like a long message to the Israeli people, to the Israeli government. He's finishing up now, but we've started to receive some really emotional images from the released hostages. One of the most searing moments was seeing two twin brothers who have been held in separate locations. President Trump now holding up It says, "This is my best." I'll let you read it, John. You can probably see it better than I can on our monitor here. But President Trump sending a very heartfelt message to the Israeli people and to the region. He's very proud of this moment. He said on board Air Force One that it is the proudest, maybe the best moment of his life. He is so happy to be here in Israel and to have achieved what many before him have not been able to achieve, a ceasefire in Gaza, an end to what he says the war in Gaza, and the release of 20 living Israeli hostages whose families did not believe they would see this day. We are still awaiting confirmation.
Everyone, please hit subscribe. There's about 364 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's get the likes up. The likes should match the views. Please double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. 364, please subscribe, double tap the screen to get the likes up. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
From the International Red Cross that they safely have the last 13 living hostages. The Red Cross is on the scene and they are in the Gaza Strip, and we're told they've made contact with the hostages and with Hamas, but we do not have confirmation that all of the hostages are safely in their hands. They often do medical checks as well as identity checks of the hostages. We've been seeing images coming out actually through Hamas phones of the hostages, the 13 calling their families in Raim. Some of them are smiling. The families certainly are happy to see the faces of their children and loved ones, but it's still rather gut-wrenching that they are still using their Hamas captors' phones to call their family. You see President Trump right now walking through the Knesset, greeting people along the way. He's been escorted by Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu and his wife Sarah. An important relationship that really forged this deal. It was that moment in the White House when President Trump was sitting side by side with Benjamin Netanyahu, and he told him, he made him call the Emir of Qatar and apologize for that strike, that airstrike against Hamas that attempted to assassinate the Hamas negotiators in Doha, Qatar. That really was a turning point in this. Some say that it took that military pressure to bring Hamas to the table. Others said it made President Trump so angry that he put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, and that is when they realized there was a moment. We also heard from negotiators who were involved in the talks that they believed there was a moment to make this deal when they realized that Hamas was starting to view the hostages less as an asset and more as a burden. When they got that message, probably through the Qatari interlocutors, that is when Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff began the final push to get this deal, and they got it done in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, just moments ago. It looks like what President Trump wrote is, "This is my best."
Here's why you're
like the video, fair use. There's about 501 in the building. You guys, please hit subscribe to support the page. Please hit subscribe. Thank you. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. We're just doing hot topics, trending topics.
So hard to read. A great and beautiful day, a new beginning. This is my great honor. This is what he says. President Trump writes to the Israeli people, "This is my great honor, a great and beautiful day, a new beginning." Very profound words for a man who has become a peacemaker here in the Middle East. We can now confirm, John, that all 13 living hostages have been transferred to the International Red Cross in Gaza. They are now safely transferred, and they are in the hands of the Red Cross. They will be making their way now to the IDF and handed over to the IDF, and they will then be making their way within the next few minutes. They will be transferred, and then they will make their way that brief ride to the state of Israel, across the border, and to the Re'im base where their families are waiting for them. But we can confirm that all 20 living hostages have now been released from Hamas captivity. They have been handed over safely to the Red Cross. We're told that all 20 are walking on their own. That is good news. That suggests that they did not need wheelchairs or to be taken out in stretchers. President Trump will be making his way to the podium there in the Knesset. He will be addressing a government that has been divided until now. Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's government has not been unified on this issue, on the issue of the hostages, on the issue of how to prosecute the war in the Gaza Strip. But today, a show of unity with the President of the United States standing, only the fourth president to ever do so, to address the Knesset on this this momentous and happy occasion for the Israeli people, 20 living hostages coming home. Now, for the families of the 28 deceased hostages who remain in Gaza, still a bittersweet moment. They will not have closure until those 28 deceased hostages return home. And then, of course, the mourning begins, the collective mourning. They've been...
Please hit subscribe. There's about 503 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button, everyone. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please hit subscribe. Let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction
in a
clip.
state of suspended mourning, if you will, for the last 2 years, unable as a nation to bury their dead, to mourn the losses, the 1,200 people who were killed that day 2 years ago. And then, of course, the Palestinian people, they are still digging out from the rubble. 90% of the Gaza Strip is rubble at this moment in time. There are hundreds of dead bodies of Palestinians being unearthed as we speak. 500,000 Palestinians returned to their homes, much of which were destroyed in the last 2 years of fighting. The Israelis blame Hamas. They say that they were hiding the hostages and other and militants in those civilian areas, in the tunnels, which were dug underneath all of these residential areas, underneath hospitals. And so, but the destruction is like something we haven't seen since, since sort of World War II, Dresden era photos or Hiroshima. It is really unbelievable. I have friends in Palestinian friends who sent me pictures of their homes before and the after is simply rubble. So right now, we await the President of the United States. He will be making his way to the front of the Knesset. He will be speaking. We were told that before he spoke, he was going to speak to some of the families of the hostages. I imagine if past his prologue, the President may be on the phone right now with some of those hostages, some of those families. This is a very, very proud moment for him. He has expressed as much. He says that this is really his greatest achievement, and it is certainly a high point in his presidency. He will be traveling on to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to meet with those leaders of 20 countries, including the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, later today for a signing ceremony, an official signing ceremony for the end to the Gaza war. The Israelis will not be traveling to Egypt for that ceremony. They already had a signing ceremony with Hamas and with the interlocutors Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff last Wednesday. That's what started the time clock for the Israeli Defense Forces to pull back to an agreed upon line. They still control about 53% of the Gaza Strip, but they pulled back to that line. And then within 72 hours of that ceasefire taking hold and the IDF pulling back, that is when we were told that the hostages would be released and 2,000 Palestinian prisoners released and on their way to the Gaza Strip. That was the timetable, and that timetable they've held to that today on Monday. So back to you, John.
All right, Jennifer Griffin doing an excellent.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Let's continue with the news. There's about 448 in the building. Please subscribe, you guys. Let's continue.
It is now my distinct honor to invite the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Donald J. Trump, to address the Knesset.
There's about 553 in the building. Let's get the likes up, you guys. Double tap the screen. It brings more people in. Let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen to hit the like. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video, or double tap the screen. There's 553. Please subscribe.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor. Nice place. Nice place. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset, and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of the age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. May you please stand up. And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He's not the easiest guy to deal with, but that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great. Thank you very much, baby. Great job. Let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect. And I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. And it's pretty unusual for you to see that, but it happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together. I'd like to thank several great American patriots for their invaluable help in getting something done that almost everyone thought was absolutely impossible. We were wasting our time. So many people said, "You're just wasting your time." But we weren't, because we had talented people working with us, and we had people that love your country, and frankly, people that love the region. They love the Middle East. I want to thank my friend Steve Witkoff. You know, Steve was chosen by me. He never did this before, but I knew him as a few things. He was a great businessman, but I know a lot of great businessmen, to be honest with you. He had tremendous negotiating skills, but I know a lot of people that negotiate pretty well, although it is an art. But there are people that can negotiate pretty well. But most importantly with Steve, he's just a great guy. Everybody loved him. Everybody. I mean, I know some negotiators that are so good, but you wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East. Would be in World War III right now with some of these guys. Everybody loves Steve, and they respect him, and they somehow can relate to him. I've known him for many years, and I've seen it over and over again. להוציא אותו מהאולם. להוציא אותו החוצה. להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף. להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם. להוציא אותו מיד. That was very efficient. So back to Steve. He's but I tell one story because he was so involved, and then we called in Jared. We called it, we need that brain on a certain group of people, but Steve started this all by himself. I call him Henry Kissinger, who doesn't leak. Okay? Henry is a big leaker. He leaked. Steve doesn't leak. Steve just wants to get the job done. He wants to do what's right. But I'll give you just a quick story because, as you know, he's working on the war with Russia and Ukraine, a war that would have never happened if I were president. A shame. 7,000 young soldiers a week are being killed. More than that this last week. It's a shame if it had never happened. But it did happen, and we won the race, and I took over this horrible war that's been raging, and I thought it would be easily settled. I thought it was a hell of a lot easier than doing what we just did very successfully with Israel. But this came first, and we'll get that one. But I set up a meeting for him to meet with President Putin, thinking it would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. Steve had no idea about Russia, had no idea about Putin too much, didn't know too much about politics, wasn't that interested. He was really good at real estate, but he had that quality that I was looking for, and I didn't see it around in too many ways. And I set up the meeting with Putin, and I called. I said, is Steve finished yet? That was about a half an hour into the meeting. No, sir, he's not. He's still inside. This is in Moscow. I said, well, how's he doing? I don't know, sir. He's still inside. I called up an hour later. Let me speak to Steve. Sir, he's still with Putin. He's with President Putin. I said, wow, it's a long meeting, 1 hour. I called up an hour later. He was still with Putin. 3 hours later, he was still with Putin. 4 hours later, he started to get the word that he was going to be coming out soon. And in 5 hours, he came out. I said, what the hell were you talking about for 5 hours? And he said, interesting things. We're talking about a lot of interesting things, including what he went in there for, but you can't talk about it for 5. You can talk about it for a certain period of time, and you know what you're getting. But that's a talent. That's a talent where you can do that. Most people I'd send in, number one, they wouldn't be accepted. Number two, if they were, the meeting would last 5 minutes. And that's what happens with Steve. Everybody loves him. They love him on this side. They love him on the other side. And he really is. He's a great negotiator because he's a great guy. So thank you very much. And let me also give a very special thanks to someone who truly loves Israel. In fact, loves it so much that my daughter converted. My daughter converted. I didn't know this was going to happen. And Ivanka's here. And Bibi, you do know this was not in the cards for me. You understand that. And she is so happy, and they are so happy. At least I think they're happy. If they're not, we have a big story, right? They have a great marriage, and they get along great. They're best friends. They have a very special relationship.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. We're going to get through some more hot topics, trending topics. Like the video as you guys come in. We're going to continue. Like the video as you guys come in.
No, let's listen in.
Some were brought in and some were not. And we're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you have to say something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is, it's a lot. But this was the one, this was the granddaddy of them all. And frankly, I thought this was probably going to be the toughest, and maybe in many ways it was, but we had a lot of good talent. Steve Woodcock, Jared.
Well, I'm going to continue with other hot topics, trending topics. You guys get it. So LeBron James may not be waiting for his other son to get into the NBA. I can't play the clip because I don't want to get flagged. We're going to continue. So LeBron is getting up there. Because remember, many people thought we're going to do hot topics, trending topics. Many for both sons. But now I guess he's saying, I'm not waiting. But many people also thought that LeBron was he going to make a retirement announcement? He didn't. He made an announcement about a collaboration he was going to have. So there's that. You could basically see his face and saying, I'm not waiting. It would have been the only father-son people that could have been on in the NBA. If he would have been able to play with his two sons, that would have been the only father-son in history, 2 sons and 1 father. He's getting up there. He may say, I don't see the one son. You got to realize this son just went to college. So he has about another year if he wants to be picked up allegedly from an NBA team. So LeBron may be saying, I don't know if I'm going to be here another year. And it may be because if the Lakers allegedly are not interested in bringing the 2 sons on, remember, Bronny had the health concern. He did extremely well in high school, but he had the health concern in college. So we'll see what happens. Let's just keep an eye on it. Doesn't look like LeBron is going to retire this year. He made an announcement in regards to a collab he was having. That's what the announcement was. Now, the other thing, too, many people are talking about there was a fan that purchased tickets because he thought that LeBron wasn't going to continue. So he's trying to sue LeBron over some tickets he purchased, 2 tickets. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but that's trending as well. That a fan bought tickets. He's trying to sue because he thought LeBron was going to retire. So let's continue. Hot topics, trending topics, and news. So, Jonathan Majors tells NLE Chopper to read the Bible again. Everybody has their understanding of what the Bible means and what it means to them. If you notice recently, there's this men forum that's coming around that men are sitting at a table and they're communicating with each other, which is good. Men need to talk to each other. Men need to talk to men. Sometimes you'll find that Kurt Franklin is leading it. Kurt Franklin has sat down with Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's been in the media. Jonathan Majors was in the media last year. So sometimes this is a forum for men to sit down to communicate with each other if they got stuff going on. Choppa, wasn't he trending a lot last year? So to just change the narrative of the news that's out there about these men. Kurt Franklin's been trending a lot lately. Go look it up. So go look up Jonathan Majors last year. Go look up Kurt Franklin last year, this year. Go look up what's going on with Tyler Perry last year, this year. So some of these men are coming together to possibly change the narrative and the conversation. So I'll still be doing that kind of stuff too. So that's something that you guys can look up. What's going on with Tyler Perry? What are the allegations about him? Not going to run it down. What's going on with Kurt Franklin? What are the allegations about him? Go look it up. Choppa, Jonathan Majors. We understood what happened with Jonathan Majors. Now he's with Megan Good. And it's like, everybody was like, Megan, why are you with a guy that just had a situationship with his girl? Okay. So sometimes I'll give you guys homework. I won't go deep because this will be a long conversation about Tyler Perry. And there are allegations about Tyler Perry. There's a lot of different allegations about Kurt Franklin. All allegations about Kurt Franklin. But here nor there. And then we saw what happened with Jonathan Majors. So there's that. So the men are coming together to do that. Remember how this picture went out when LeBron was sitting between the two women and they were like, okay, you ladies are a little too close to Bron. Step back. You know he has Savannah and you know Savannah don't play. Many people feel that women, if they know that you're a married man, you shouldn't be putting your head on their shoulder. You shouldn't be too close. Shake hands, but you should not. Many people feel you should not try and come in contact with women, them rubbing you, putting their head on your shoulder. If you go back and look at the video, I think one of the women, I can't remember which one, they were kind of just all giggles and, Savannah wasn't in between. Savannah wasn't there. Many men don't like to be photographed between two women and the wife is not there because it looked flirty, but he's known these women for a very long time. I remember the clip and they were just so happy because you can't see the other girl. They were just so happy and they were just talking to him. They've probably been friends for so long. It was just probably friends talking amongst friends. But when you look at the video, they looked extremely happy just to be able to be that close and Savannah's not there. So men in the industry, in the league, be careful sitting like this with two women and your wife's not there. I get it. Great conversation between friends, but many people were like, ladies, back up. That's Savannah's man. And many women are always going to protect Savannah. Savannah's non-problematic. We've talked about Steph Curry and his wife. Savannah's non-problematic. She does her podcast. I don't know if she still has her podcast, but for a little while, she was doing her podcast. But go back and look at this video when LeBron was between these two women. They looked extremely happy to be right there. And a lot of people will say that they love it if they can get you from your wife. There's that. Okay, so Donald Trump talks.
When you talked about how you hope to end. Go ahead. You had talked a couple weeks ago. You were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but go ahead.
You had talked a couple weeks ago. You were doing an interview.
You have to go look up the stuff in regards to Kurt. His friend, his son, um, his son has spoken out. So look up Kurt Franklin and his son has made different allegations. So I'll be general because I can't confirm or deny, or I don't know if there's police reports out there. So my page is a little different. I'll give you the information to go look it up. But if there's no police report, or if there's da 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 da, I'm very cautious of bringing stuff up that may not be, you know. And the reason why I say that, his son spoke out a few years ago, and then his son spoke out, I think, last year, and then Kurt Franklin's son just recently spoke out again. So I can't confirm or deny what the son is having concerns about. Kurt Franklin has other children outside of his marriage. He has an older son, but there's been different back and forth regards to Kurt Franklin, his older son, Kurt Franklin growing up. I can't confirm or deny. That's why I'm very cautious about what to say. But many people were hearing different things last year, and then his son made another statement. I want to say last month. So just look up Kurt Franklin and his son making allegations. So I'm cautious over here for a good reason because I can't confirm or deny. This has been something I've been kind of keeping an eye on. Ray and Drake, 10 years old album can't stop dominating the charts. I've been kind of keeping an eye on that. If you guys notice, at least twice a year I'll post how well Drake and Ye is doing in the charts. I've kind of posted that. They're doing still well. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into Miss Wendy Osefo, and we're gonna talk Carlos King and what he found out from an attorney and from a lawyer. A lawyer, you're gonna hear a lawyer. You're gonna hear a lawyer talk about general concerns about the Wendy Osefo. And if you guys did not know, yeah, prayers go out because it's not an easy situation, father sons, if they're bumping heads. If you guys don't know what's going on, Wendy Osefo and her husband have had concerns in regards to being arrested, and many people have been talking about this situation. And we're going to listen to what we're going to listen to what the lawyer and the attorney had to say, what this might mean going forward. So we're going to play some clips, and he's going to break down what some of the allegations are. And I like hearing from attorneys and judges. This judge says she's not giving legal advice. She's just giving her opinion. And I like how Carlos King, and it might be that Carlos King might be helping Wendy and her husband in regards to what is being alleged and what's being talked about. Friends will do that for one another. I can't confirm or deny if what Wendy did, her and her husband, will proceed for them to be possibly jailed or prison. I don't know. I don't give legal advice. A judge jury is going to have to decide if there's any wrongdoing on Wendy's side. A judge jury is going to have to do that. Okay. So don't follow celebrity. Okay. If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. Let me time you out because I'm here and it's been a busy day. You don't have to be here. You don't have to be here. People care because people care because there's so much going on in regards to Wendy and her husband. And you have two prominent people that have allegations against them. So what we're about to do is listen to an attorney and a judge talk about this situation with Miss Wendy. Like the video as you guys come in.
All right. So this is the actual court document that I'm reading from. So this is what they are alleging. October 9th, 2025, the defendant was indicted by the grand jury for 7 counts of insurance fraud. I read you guys all that. And a warrant was issued and bail was set at $50,000. I told you guys what the allegations were already. Based on the court documents, this is what they're alleging.
However the case falls, a judge is going to have to make a decision. To have a jury, then that's going to be that they're going to have a judge or a jury make a decision what's going on. They're innocent till proven guilty in a court of law. So if in however they proceed, a judge or a jury is going to make a decision. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Right now, they're saying that investigation determined that on April 8th, the Osefos initiated 3 separate insurance claims for the burglary and theft, traveler's insurance, jewelers mutual insurance, and home site insurance company for the alleged losses suffered while they were away. They're alleging that Eddie gave recorded statements to 2 of the insurance companies regarding a list of stolen items he provided. He was asked whether any of the items on the list had been returned, which he denied. He was asked if he had other insurance but failed to disclose the home site and jewelers that he was also making a claim for traveler's insurance. They both signed a sworn statement of loss, which was notarized. The total amount of loss claim on the sworn statement was for the loss of $2,500 for the building and $450,000 estimated for contents, personal property. He included an inventory of reported stolen items along with the receipts. That claim was denied. Failure to disclose the policy with traveler's insurance. In the original claim submitted on April 8th to travelers, Eddie confirmed that he and his wife were wearing their anniversary bands when the loss occurred. However, Eddie called traveler's insurance on April 10th and said he needed to update their claim, stating his wife's gold diamond anniversary band was missing. That same day, traveler's insurance settled that claim for $25,380, which included the replacement price of the band, which was $4,500. One more thing, after the initial reported claim on April 11th, they both signed and submitted letters to the jewelers mutual insurance claiming the burglary occurred and items were reported stolen. At the request of jewelers mutual insurance, the Osefos provided an initial list of 57 stolen items. Included on that list was Wendy's gold diamond anniversary band that was already reported in the traveler's insurance claim. Now, on April 22nd, Eddie was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make any mention of the jewelry claim or payout with the travelers. They're saying that deputies were suspicious of the circumstances of the burglary and the records from stores where some of the items were purchased, along with social media and email accounts. And based on their investigation, they're alleging that they found that the items that they claimed were stolen were returned before the burglary. And they're alleging that a ring that they said was stolen, they found Wendy to have worn that in a social media post. As of now, they are released on bond and
like the video, like the video. I did do a short in regards to they were released and they are all on bond. There's about 165 in the building. Please hit subscribe. So like I said, I can't confirm or deny what will have to happen or transpire, but he does have a judge and an attorney sitting right here. So we're going to listen what the judge and the attorney has to say. But hit the subscribe. Fair use, reaction clip.
Now we're here to talk about exactly what is going on. So Courtney, tons of questions to ask. I want to start by asking Judge Tierney this. So, Rain Gods, we are fortunate enough to have a sitting judge who's able to break down the law to us. Again, this isn't for have colorful commentary. I want to just stick to the law and stick to the facts. So, Courtney has her questions. I'll start by asking this.
Okay.
Judge, the 9 counts of insurance fraud, but only 8 counts of conspiracy insurance fraud. Are those 2 different things? Like, what are the difference between counts of insurance fraud, but other counts of conspiracy of insurance fraud?
I'll just repeat again that I cannot speak on the merits or the facts of this case, so I can't specifically say 8 versus 9 or 9 versus 8. I can't give legal advice, but what I will tell you is that anytime there is the allegations of a felony, it has to be presented before a grand jury. And during the grand jury, this is not innocent or guilt. This is just simply, does the prosecutor have enough evidence to move forward?
Like the video, like the video. So she's just giving a breakdown. Do they have enough to move forward? Let's continue. Fair use, reaction clip.
And based on whatever comes from the grand jury, they determine how much evidence the prosecutor has put forth to actually bring charges. So in order to bring the charges forward, they have to present evidence to move forward to the grand jury. So depending on whatever was, and what's really key about a grand jury indictment is that it is secret at the time, so that the
Sorry about the static. Her mic might be really close. Just bear with me. It's the information that's important. There's about 190 in the building. Please hit subscribe. You guys, let's get the likes up. The likes should match the views. Please double tap the screen. Most of you are watching from a tablet or a phone. Please double tap that screen. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes to 100. Double tap the screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue. Fair use.
Witnesses are protected. So at this time, you wouldn't technically know what was presented to the grand jury and what they decided until the charges are actually filed. And those charges would have been filed based on their conclusions from the evidence presented.
I do have a question because we all were very invested in the press conference today where the prosecutor made it very clear his intentions for filing, as well as the sheriff surrounding this, their intentions on supporting.
Hello, Dallas.
Wendy and her husband. My question becomes, one of the things that stuck out to me was how their investigation started immediately, from when officers were boots on the ground at the house to questions and red flags posing, how an alleged burglar got into a second story open window in a bathroom, like all of the things that rose suspicion for officers at the scene are now part of this indictment and pending investigation as we speak. So when we look at that,
hello,
when evidence
Vegas.
of that magnitude is presented, and it feels as though law enforcement felt like there were things kind of tricky and suspicious immediately, how then is that going to potentially come back to haunt the couple now? As they're presenting new evidence saying, we suspect fraud, we not only suspect fraud, but investigators from the insurance claim, as well as our personal officers, have started to scour your social media. We're looking at the crime scene, and we're sending investigators back on the crime scene to make sure that it is, your statements were reasonable and rational, which they're now discovering are not. What are we looking at in terms of them building a case and a case with prosecutors?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat it again because I think it's worth repeating. Sure. We have to be very clear to understand that a grand jury indictment has nothing to do with proof of innocence or guilt. It is simply enough evidence from an investigation that allows a case to move forward, where we now actually go into the specifics of a case, the evidence, the veracity of it. Anytime you're dealing with a case, I mean, it sounds cliche until you're actually in that moment. You are innocent until proven guilty. The prosecutor has the burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the charges. Now, of course, investigators and prosecutors do their investigations and they take their time, but anytime there is an allegation of wrongdoing, an investigation is going to occur and you are going to follow the evidence. These are conclusions still, but they have to be proven in a court of law, and it has to happen through the presentation of evidence in court.
Right.
And a lot of times, I said this to you all before, a lot of times, especially with high profile cases, public opinion will come to a conclusion. No evidence has been reported, no explanations have been presented. And so we are coming to these conclusions through public opinion that simply just may not be true, or they may be incomplete. And I just do want to caution people always, whenever you're talking about allegations, especially allegations that are serious and could possibly carry up to, if it's a state charge, anywhere from 10 years in custody, a federal charge up to 20 years in custody, we should not jump to conclusions. We should let the evidence take us and lead the case, and only rely on what is presented in court, because there is a different standard in court than what is going to be put out into the media.
I want to stop you this. Of course, before we ask this question, I do want to ask you this. Everyone knows I am in law school. I go to the University of Reality with the King Law.
Like I said, if y'all just not coming in, we're listening to Carlos King talk to one attorney and one judge, and they're giving a breakdown on what is being talked about in regards to Wendy and her husband. And like I said, Ashley has spoke out. So let's continue. what Carlos has to say. He is friends with Wendy and Eddie. Let's continue fair use reaction clip. Let's get the likes up, y'all. There's about 50 likes. There's about 163 in the building. Please double tap that screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's get the likes to 100. Double tap that screen. It brings people in and it keeps me in the algorithm. 163, double tap the screen. Please hit the thumbs up above or below. Let's continue with what Carlos King has to say.
I'm trying my best to like understand this. And what I have learned by doing the law series that I'm doing is the fact that it's one thing for the prosecutors.
Like the video, like the video. Let's let the commercial go past. Like the video as you guys come in. There's about 115 in the building. Please hit subscribe and thank you. Let's continue.
The prosecutors to detail their discovery, along with the sheriff's department to say we have enough evidence. They take it to the grand jury. The grand jury then, and tell me when I'm wrong, Judge Tierney, the grand jury then decides, yes, you have proven at this stage. Right? You have proven at this.
No, okay, so let me restate what you said. Okay,
not,
go ahead.
Not proven. The grand jury felt like you have delivered enough of a case. You built enough of a case.
Build a case, right.
You built enough of a case in order for us to move forward with an arrest.
To indict, to see. So let's use an analogy. The grand jury basically says there's a see if it's a fire.
Okay.
There are no conclusions. There's no evidence of proof or guilt. And it's not the sheriff's department that would actually present to the grand jury. The sheriff does the investigation and turns over the information from the investigation to the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor office then presents that to the grand jury, and the grand jury decides if enough evidence has been move forward with pursuing charges.
And that's why you're innocent until proven guilty, because as of now, Eddie and Wendy are innocent because they have yet to be proven guilty. These are just charges. So the next step
allegations, yes.
Right.
They're allegations, but they're still being, again, I'm going to ask you this. Right. They're being charged. So is there a difference between being charged and allegations? Or are they the same in one?
They're not the same in one, but they can be synonymous. So right. What they have been alleged of illegal activity, and now they have been charged, and now the actual prosecutor has to prove their case, because the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, always in a criminal case. Okay. And that is a very high burden of proof. So that's no easy feat.
Right. As we've seen in some of these other cases, that just because you're charged in court, it is your responsibility, the prosecution's responsibility to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
That's correct. It's their burden.
We did have, and according to the press conference today, the prosecutor in this case feels very confident that they will be able to prove. He acknowledged that it's his responsibility. The burden lies with him, but he is confident that the charges that they brought against them, he will be able to prove. He was very adamant and confident within the press conference today. So we're going to be very interested to see how this all unfolds. One of the questions from the Raindrops, AD, we see your question, and it's a good one. Did they know that they were being investigated?
This is a good question. Listen to this. Hit the subscribe button, you guys. Hit the subscribe button. This is really good to listen to. Please hit the subscribe. Let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen.
Do we think that they knew they were under investigation?
That would probably be a question for Carlos. He would be more in tune with what, maybe their state of mind is. Again, those are specifics to the case that I cannot speak to.
Yeah.
I can repeat that a grand jury is in secret. So evidence is presented in grand jury.
Grand jury is in secret. But remember, they had put out claims. I think some of the claims had gotten denied. Like I said, this judge is not giving legal advice. She's just communicating, and I'm not giving legal advice either. We're just talking.
Jury to secret. That doesn't mean that in any case, any witness hasn't been interviewed. But you would have to come to a conclusion. If you take an example of a missing wife. So if a husband didn't actually participate in it, but he is going to be questioned by the investigators, is it reasonable that he may deduce that he is being investigated? Yes, because generally all the time, the first person we think of when someone goes missing is the closest person to them. But there may not be anything specific that says you are actually being investigated until they state that to them or come and present charges from the grand jury.
Judge Tierney, can you explain to us the difference between fraud, conspiracy, and false statement charges?
And I apologize because you did ask me that when we opened up, and I kind of was explaining something else. But I think that here's what's the second two charges are related to the big charge. So the fraud is the charge. And that is when you have knowingly false information or misrepresentation, and someone has relied on it.
Okay.
And you have caused harm. The key in the fraud to commit insurance fraud is intent. You have to knowingly do it. So then there are other the charges that you mentioned to me. Conspiracy. With the conspiracy is very simple. It's just two or more people get together and decide to commit a crime.
It all started when I tried to.
So there's fraud, conspiracy, and then allegations. So did they make a proper police report? Did they falsely give information to the insurance companies? All that's gathered. So don't break the law, y'all. Can't confirm or deny. Not a lawyer. Judge, jury's going to have to decide if there's any wrongdoing. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
And lastly, making a false report is exactly what it sounds like. When you talk to the authorities, you did not tell the truth, and especially if you do it under oath or a sworn statement.
Okay.
And
now, under oath or sworn statement, they're basically stating that they had gotten something notarized and turned it in. What does that mean? You went to a bank or you went to a notary to get something notarized saying what you're signing is factual. So if they signed something saying it's factual, they knew allege what they were signing. What was stated in that document might not have been alleged factual. So there's a concern there. If they have emails or if they have notary things that's been notarized, that can be a concern too.
Is generally, most of the time, going to be a misdemeanor. Except in federal cases, it can be a felony lying to the federal government.
Got it.
And the thing is, as of now, this is a state crime, not federal. So as of now, it's a state crime. Could it go to the federal level, though, Judge Tierney? And if what has to happen for a state crime to reach federal in any case of fraud?
Well, it has to actually be something that is going to break federal law. So there are certain things like a city ordinance charge or a state charge that is related specifically to your jurisdiction, your city, your state. Sometimes the federal government doesn't have jurisdiction.
Okay.
You know, so
where
jaywalking, they're not going to have jurisdiction. But in a case where we're talking about something like fraud, if there is any commerce that crosses over interstate, then you're going to see concurrent jurisdiction between a state and the federal government. Generally, they're going to have a discussion about who's proceeding, because you always want to think about, in prosecution of cases, making sure that you're allocating public funds in a responsible manner.
Right.
So it's very unlikely that you would see a state and federal prosecution at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. I do have a question, and Carlos, do you mind rereading the charges specifically so that we can really understand? Because I think when we hear the bigger charge of fraud, and now I have, at least I do, have a better understanding, I hope the raindrops do as well, have a better understanding of the conspiracy part. But when we listen to the sheriffs during the press conference say that actual man hours went into investigating a crime that didn't just happen to Wendy and her husband, but could also have affected the neighborhood and the community at large, that's what they take into account. How then does those charges against filing a false police report or giving false statements to the police, how does that kind of come in play when the police are thinking about it, the larger scope, they're spending?
Oh, yeah. Because remember, Wendy and her husband stated their house got burglarized. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
How does that become an even more serious charge, Judge? If you can.
So again, a false statement to the police is always going to, generally, if it's a state case versus a federal case, it's going to be seen as sometimes a lower level case, if that makes sense.
It does. A lower level charge to a bigger charge, though, makes it different. Does a lower level charge attached to a much larger charge make it carry more weight, potentially, when somebody brings something like that in front of a judge?
Well, every case is going to be decided on the merits and facts of that case.
Okay.
And so it's really hard to speculate on what would happen in a specific case. I remember one time a woman in the country, she made a false report about being kidnapped and missing, and it used a lot of manpower and time. And so that jurisdiction came down really hard on her because they wanted to send a message that when you make false statements, you take away from the police actually investigating crimes that could save lives.
Right.
And I think that generally that is why it's such a big deal when you make a false report, because you're taking away from when the police could be out saving someone else's life or mitigating large damage. But it is still a serious charge on its own.
Like the video, like the video. Let's get the likes up, you guys. There's about 133 in the building. I listened to this and I kind of wanted to bring it to y'all because I love listening to attorneys and judges if there's certain things I need to learn. So that's why I brought it to y'all. There's about 133 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Let's continue. Get the likes up, you guys. Double tap the screen. It's only one tap. Hitting the like button is free. Hitting the subscribe button is free. The like should match the views.
I am here just really for educational commentary, because when things like this happen, especially in the public eye, it's very important for the public to understand, because I always say that you have to know these things for your own personal life. The difference is that I'm not sure if it was a misdemeanor or felony charge. So that is what would differentiate whether it was more serious or equally serious. Did they charge, or were they charged with a misdemeanor or a felony?
Yes, and we'll have Courtney talk about that too, because one thing I want to bring up is this. They are alleging that they were able to get into Eddie's emails, and they said that they found an email where he allegedly told Wendy to up the amount of the claims, adding things more to the claims so that they were able to go a little bit over the maximum amount of what the home insurance agency was going to provide. What I want to ask you about that is this. Does law enforcement have to get some sort of warrant to tap into your emails? Like, how were they able to find these? How is law enforcement able to find emails without your permission?
Good question. Like the video, like the video. Don't break no crimes. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Yes, you absolutely have a warrant. It has to have a warrant, and it has to be executed by a judge. It may not necessarily be the judge in the case, but it has to be executed by a judge, because a judge has to review the information that you have presented, stating the reason why you need to actually collect this evidence. So a sheriff's department or a prosecutor or an investigator is always going to have to get a warrant. But again, I go back to making sure that the public, especially the raindrops, are not making any conclusions at this point, because, you know, it's like having a one-sided conversation. They have put forth and said a lot of things, but now on the other side, the defense side, they get to review everything. They get to review evidence, the veracity, the authenticity of it. They get to review the relevance of it. They get to, if it was done procedurally, and what is going to actually be included for a jury and a judge to decide ultimately what happens in the case. So in pretrial negotiations, you go through actually going through all of the motions and presenting the evidence to say, this is what will be allowed to be presented in this case in court. And that is super important. So again, I caution the public in any case, please allow the facts and the evidence to guide your journey. Do not jump ahead of the journey, but do be educated so that you understand exactly what is going on and that you are not making conclusions, you know, apprehensively or prematurely.
Can we talk about, here's what I find fascinating, and I know this kind of goes to your question, Micah Smith, 04. One of the things that is being alleged is that they double dipped. So they filed multiple.
Like the video, like the video. There's about 171 in the building. Please subscribe. You guys, let's get the likes up. Please double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's get the likes to 100. Let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen, hit the above video, thumbs up above or below. Let's get the likes up. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
Insurance claims on the same item. And that drove up the price of what they actually collected on.
So what she just said, it seems as if they're trying to say someone had said they might have double dipped in trying to file claims with the insurance companies.
Through several different insurance entities. What is shocking in all of this is that he is an attorney. So there were a lot of risk involved in, will there be any kind, I know you're saying don't jump to the conclusions, but it's very hard not to at least be conscious of the fact that an attorney, a prominent attorney and his wife, who is very visible on reality TV, they're, fan favorites, that they didn't have some idea. It's not, me or just some regular person filing a claim. It's somebody who actually has a clear understanding of the law, and also consciously doing something that could appear as fraudulent, or, just something shady.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. I hope you guys are really appreciating the information.
Just something shady.
So I think the question is this, though. Is it, and I want to simplify for the raindrops, because again, I just want to ask the question for the raindrops to know. Is it illegal to claim a stolen item on more than one insurance company?
That would be inconsistent with the law.
Okay.
But again, I want to make sure we are talking in generalities. And you are making conclusions because you're stating that someone has consciously done something. It's impossible to state of mind. That is what the legal process is for. That is what court is for, because intent must be proven. But I'm a judge. Carlos is in the law school of raindrops.
I got my law degree from Law and Order University. Yeah.
Humans make mistakes. You cannot criminalize mistakes. There has to be intent. You have to knowingly and willingly break the law. You have to knowingly and willingly in the courtroom, not play out in the media. Headlines sound great, but facts and evidence are what lead in a courtroom.
Yes, no, agree. And that's the reason why I want to make sure to do this episode with you, because again, I wanted to make sure that we had enough time to get all the facts that was presented, just based, and when I say facts, I'm not saying that what they're alleging is factual. I'm meaning facts in terms of things that were in the court documents. I want to make that very clear when I say that. In addition to that, it was more so of the generalities of, for anybody, if you double dip an insurance claim, whoever you are, and was that illegal? Now you answered that, listen, you have to prove that this person had intent to do it. And I think at the end of the day, look, the reason why people are saying you're innocent to proven guilty, and why some people are even saying, well, why was Wendy and Eddie smiling in their mugshots? Look, Eddie is a lawyer. And perhaps there's way more information that we will find out as this case proceeds that really warrants whether or not intent was involved in these allegations. What I do want to ask you is this. Eddie is a lawyer. He has a law degree. If any lawyer is convicted of a crime, whether it's a state crime, a federal crime, a misdemeanor, or not, is that something to where you are disbarred from it, or are there something that has to be to a high degree for that to happen?
Right.
So the first thing, again, I'm not aware. But if you are a lawyer and you actually graduate from law school, there are two things that happen. You have to actually pass the fitness test to sit for the bar, and then you have to sit for the bar and pass it. So I'm not sure if you're a practicing attorney, because people graduate from law school all the time and they may not be practicing.
Oh.
So you have to be a practicing attorney licensed to a state in order to lose your license. So I just want to clarify that in each state, you have to take a fitness test to sit for the bar examination. And then you actually have to pass the bar examination. And that is how you become a practicing lawyer in that state. But absolutely, if you are charged with a crime and convicted,
right,
that state bar is going to do an investigation and you will be given due diligence just like in any other process. But if any lawyer is convicted of a crime, depending on the nature of the crime, especially a felony crime, their license is more than likely going to be revoked.
In that state? Could they practice in another state?
It is state by state. So the states would have to decide. Let's say I am licensed in the state of Georgia. If I lose my license in the state of Georgia, I still have to go apply in another state. That's the fitness test I'm talking about, where they do basically a background check on you and check everything and say, you can be trusted with someone else's life and financial matters.
That's a fitness test.
That's the fitness test. So you could go to law school and not be allowed to sit for the bar examination.
Wow.
You have to pass the fitness test.
Wow. So I'm wondering if, there's a person that keeps trying to degree, and I'm wondering if they're not passing this fitness test. Y'all know who I'm talking about? You put it in the comments if you want. I'm not going to say the name, though. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Judge is giving great information. If you're just not tuning in, we're listening to Carlos King. He's sitting with a judge who's not giving legal advice, and he's sitting with an attorney. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
You have to pass the fitness test first.
And the fitness test is a background. It's like a background check.
Right.
It's a deep dive background check.
Wow.
And it is not just a background check that relates to criminality. It relates to your financial matters. Like, they want to make sure that anytime you're allowing someone to be entrusted with other people's lives and financial matters. So
when you think about that person that's been trying to pass the bar for the last 5 years, I'm wondering if they're not passing their fitness test. Note in the comments who y'all think I'm talking about. I'm wondering if they're not passing their fitness test because they have to do a deep dive in regards to their finances. Let's continue.
But absolutely, if you are charged with a crime and convicted,
right,
that state bar is going to do an investigation and you will be given due diligence just like in any other process. But if any lawyer is convicted of a crime, depending on the nature of the crime, especially a felony crime, their license is more than likely going to be revoked.
In that state? Could they practice in another state?
It is state by state. So the states would have to decide. Let's say I am licensed in the state of Georgia. If I lose my license in the state of Georgia, I still have to go apply in another state. That's the fitness test I'm talking about, where they do basically a background check on you and check everything and say, you can be trusted with someone else's life and financial matters.
That's a fitness test.
That's a fitness test. So you could go to law school and not be allowed to sit for the bar examination.
Wow.
You have to pass the fitness test first.
And the fitness test is a background. It's like a background check.
It's a deep dive background check. And it is not just a background check that relates to criminality. It relates to your financial matters. Like, they want to make sure that anytime you're allowing someone to be entrusted with other people's lives and financial matters, that they are trustworthy. So if you, don't pay your bills on time or have multiple lawsuits filed against you, you might be denied to sit for the bar after going to law school for 3 years.
Wow.
Wait, hold on. If I am in law school and in order for me to pass a fitness test, this background check is so deep that if you find that I pay my bills late, I could fail the fitness test?
You could fail the fitness test after 3 years of law school, and we don't apply until our 3rd year.
Wow.
And so you could have gone through that. But here's the thing, in a lot of states, it's like any other test. You can try again. So you can go resolve your matters and you can present your case again and come back and say, I have, been reformed. I've done this, and this. I've got my life on path. I understood through this process, and now I'm a better person, which is going to make me a better lawyer, because there are a lot of people in our community who have trouble not paying their bills. But it's a devastating thing, to be honest with you. It happened to a guy I knew in law school, and it was devastating to him.
Wow.
We want to read this.
Okay. Yeah, someone in the comments said it's a character as well as fitness test.
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting because there was a distinction on the character. So your character is equally as important to this fitness test, correct?
Yes, it's the same thing. Character and fitness test. So it goes into
And passing the bar. We have heard that certain cities and states, their bar is extremely difficult to very difficult to pass. Ration clip.
Your character, which is why they use your financial background as a way to define your character. But they also use things like your school background. They use, your driving history. They review so many things in your life to make sure that you actually can be entrusted with the life and financial matters of the public.
Wow. That's interesting. So y'all know who I'm thinking about. And I'm wondering if that's where they're having issues in regards to passing the fitness test and the character part of it because of who they were married to. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Like the video, like the video. They've been in school for so long.
We've said all that to say that it's very unlikely if I lose my license in one state, that another state would actually grant me the right to actually try and pursue my license in their state.
Is there going to be a way, and again, we are dealing with a lot of hypotheticals because this is just unfolding, but in the event, there is a redeeming quality here, right? Like if this comes to show that he's actually guilty of this, loses his license, only if he's a practicing attorney. I thought that was a good note and takeaway that I will take away. Is there like a grace period, or is there a period of time where you could reapply for your license even after something like this happens? Should he be convicted?
It is going to be based on the state. So each state is going to have different requirements, just like they have different laws and penalties. So the state that, he applies to will depend.
I know one of the raindrops asked a question from a insurance adjuster. And the insurance adjuster in the comments stated that it is illegal to file multiple claims. And I do remember and recall my purse got stolen, my credit cards, things were in there. When I filled it out for my credit cards as well as my homeowner's insurance, they do ask you if you filed a claim with another company to list the things that you're claiming with that company versus what you're claiming there. Those documents, especially if you're in a state of, shock or dismay, can become confusing because what you might be able to, what might be covered through, let's say, Amex, is not necessarily going to be covered through anything else that you've gotten stolen. So there is a good chance, considering that I really do hope that it was more confusing than just malicious. Because those just can be right.
I think that, you just gave a great example of why intent is so important in fraud. Because, we're humans, we make human errors. Sometimes people don't understand the language. Sometimes there's miscommunication between family members or spouses. Sometimes the record keeping is a little sloppy. Again, the intent is really important.
That's a good question. So a raindrop asked, what's interesting about this is a married couple who are being charged for allegedly committing crimes within the same household, within insurance, but they have different counts. What I will say is this, I'm not a lawyer, but what I will say, similarly to Teresa Giudice and Joe Giudice, raindrop, just so you all know, but I'll have the judge answer this if she wants to, but what I can say based on my knowledge of Teresa and Joe, a married couple who both were arrested and charged and both sentenced to jail, they went to trial separately because, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Judge, the law views you as individuals, so you're not, in some cases. So I'm assuming in this case that Eddie and Wendy possibly will go to trial separately.
And is there a
defendants, you can have a trial. Again, we always are talking about the use of public funds. And so we always want to make sure that the government is responsibly spending the public's money, because the money belongs to the public in all of these cases. And so you have the right to try any co-defendant together, but equally, because these are criminal charges, defendant has a right to their own defense, they can file for motions to separate their trials.
Wow. That's
So
good to
again,
know.
that's why you have to, and I just keep repeating this, you have to judge each case based on its own facts, merits, and circumstances.
Which makes sense. What did he know? What did he sign? What did she know? What did she sign? What emails he had, and what was notified? What notary did he sign? What notary did she sign? So I get that. Y'all get that? Like the video. Like the video. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Got it.
It's really hard to predict, which is why we shouldn't. We should really follow the evidence and just what is presented in court, including the motions, because that would be a motion that would be filed in court, either to move forward together or to separate the trials.
What I do want to get into is this, and first of all, Judge, thank you so much for your insights. I want to make sure that we spend time really dissecting the law, because like you said, there's so much information going out here that I want to make sure that we were able to sort of talk about the law instead of the salaciousness. Now, what I will say is, as we transition into more breaking news, Courtney Parker, who also is a reality TV producer, what came out.
It all started when I tried it once.
Like the video, like the video. Like I said, these reality shows love if you got problems with the police. These reality shows love if you're going through a divorce. These reality shows love if you got family drama. They love it. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
This reality TV producer, what came out tonight.
I was hoping.
And think back of how many people that's had legal issues, law problems. Teresa Joe, you look at Peter Thomas, you look at Portia and Simon going through their thing. He was in ICE custody, got released. Him and Portia going through. Now Wendy and her husband Eddie. But like we said, the case has to proceed in regards to documents, what they knew, what they did not know, and what was legally. I mean, the one young lady was saying, well, you're trying to report this to one place, you're trying to report this to the other place. Did they know trying to report to the insurance companies, were you supposed to do that? But then, like they said, they'll ask you, have you decided to report this missing purse or bag or whatever to another insurance company to collect dual payments? So that's going to be the big thing in regards to what these police reports show and what the prosecutors have to prosecute them on. Now, many people are going to ask, did he foresee and take the lead on presenting this and this and this to the insurance company and she just did not know? He reported X, Y, and Z, or did she knowingly know he reported X, Y, and Z? That's going to be the big question. Like the video, fair use reaction clip. You got to be very careful in regards to what you state. Insurance is high. You can't just falsify stuff. And then there's being alleged that she still wore the ring, alleged of what she reported that was taken. Then this is the other thing. Is being alleged she wore the ring in media and allegedly the police got the ring. So what you allegedly got paid off, stating that it was stolen or missing. You got paid, but then you're still showing it. And now allegedly the police has her ring. Wow.
Is the fact that new show that's appearing, I believe, on Bravo and Peacock
has her ring, and they're alleging other items were returned to the stores and alleged items were in the home. So, alleged ring missing, alleged paid for ring, items alleged returned to stores, items alleged still in the house that was gathered by the police. So there's a lot. And you got to, stores have numbers. They're going to have serial numbers. So if you report something stolen and then it's on your credit card, that's the serial number of those shoes, that bag. So why would you think alleged that you can say it's stolen, but you returned it? Credit card companies it's gonna have a tracking number. Red Birkin, black Birkin, whatever. So you're saying red Birkin stolen, black Birkin stolen. I can't confirm or deny what item she's saying is stolen, but you can't say something's stolen and you returned it. So alleged items were alleged returned to the store, and alleged items were still in the home that they stated were taken. And the police have obtained those items of what they're alleging said was stolen. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video, like the video. There's about 157 in the building. If I can get all 157 to hit the subscribe, you guys, we're trying to hit 50K by next month. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. I need your assistance and help. If all 150 subscribe, that'll be a great day. If you already subscribed, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. Let's continue to get the likes up. Let's get to 100. Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Let's continue, fair use.
A wife swap. And Dr. Wendy is a part of
Oh, that's the other thing. She was supposed to be a part of the wife swap, so he's about to explain that.
Wife swap. It has been reported today that the network has decided to pull that episode as of now.
Wow.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And I was just reading that they're also talking about delaying next week's premiere to the following week.
Wow.
Oh, no, it premieres on Sunday.
Right. The 14th premiere is now being possibly moved to next week.
Oh, you mean the premiere Wife Swap? I'm sorry, yes, Wife Swap. Yeah. So, okay, so what Courtney said, she's right. So, Wife Swap was supposed to premiere on October 14th, Raindrops, which is Tuesday. Courtney is saying that, yes, they pulled the episode with Wendy in it, and now that they may be pushing back the premiere. The only thing I can assume as a producer is if they're pushing back the premiere, I wonder if Dr. Wendy was in the first episode.
Absolutely.
Hello from Canada. The other one was from Canada, Vegas. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Absolutely, and I'm saying that with certainty because we've all been there. When your show was supposed to premiere, there was all this media attention. Networks are very calculated in their rollout. So there's always the piggyback of promotion. Whoever is hot. I did a show recently, and there was a tragedy surrounding one of our celebrities. This particular celebrity lost 2 family members within the same week of my show premiering. She was my first episode. We ended up having to move her to the 3rd episode because of all the promotion. We didn't want to be insensitive. The network didn't want to be insensitive. We needed to do immediate damage control. So if they were the first episode, which I'm very confident in assuming that they were, that's why. They have to, recalibrate, and they have to shuffle the episodes and make whatever number 2 was number 1 so that they don't mess up the network calendar and the show's calendar of production.
What is so interesting? Yeah, and it is. And listen, one of the Raindrops asked a good question, Carlos. Why would they do that? Why would a network pull the episode? So again, I'm speaking in general. I didn't speak to a Robert representative, but what I can say is,
like the video. Because if you're trying to limelight of wife swap, she's giving advice to families maybe she should not be given. Hello, like the video. We
have to look at it this way. Wife Swap is a very different show than Real Housewives, right? The Real Housewives, as we know, we saw the premiere episode of Potomac. We saw that it opened up with Karen getting out of jail for her DUI conviction. We saw that Teresa had to turn herself in, go to jail, was then cameras follow her coming back home. I think on Housewives, that may be something that, okay, let's follow the reality. The difference, Raindrops, between Housewives and Wife Swap, based on the show that was on, I believe it was Lifetime, if I'm not mistaken, that's a different show. And it's different, it's more wholesome. It's also a show that, you're in these people's homes. That show is more comedy. It's more so like, oh, if I could live in your house one day, what would that feel like? So it's a very different show tonally.
And it's family oriented. So if you're trying to show a show that's family oriented to kids, that child may say, well, Mom, wait a minute. They just got arrested last week. Why are they showing them in a decent light? Why are they acting like nothing's wrong? Shows take a hit when you're in the media for alleged being arrested. So kids are watching, especially if it's family oriented. They had to pull it. So this show may say, my goodness, the week they got arrested, it's almost, we're supposed to premiere in several days. So a show takes a huge hit when they take a risk on you. Let's continue. Fair use, reaction clip.
Then a Real Housewives, and I think the other thing too is, look, this is a brand new show. And the last thing you want for a brand new show, a series premiere, is this level of scandal. Now, granted, the range I've said in the comments, but Carlos, the ratings will be high. I agree with you. But I think on some of the
anyway.
yes, I'll answer the question, Mia Simone. I think in these cases, leave that back up for Mia Simone. I want to make sure I remember and read it directly. Wife Swap is a brand new show. So
right.
to have that type of, like Courtney said, controversy may not be appetizing for the appetizers.
I want to make a correction. Wife Swap is not a brand new show, but it's been off
no.
the air. Right. It's been off the air for a significant amount of time, so it's now coming back.
I know, but the difference, right? But it's a brand new show for this network because they changed, and they also changed the creative. It's now housewives swapping with other people.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah. So I want to make sure we knew that. Mia Simone, Carlos, we really want to know, is Bravo still filming? Are we getting any of this for the season? You guys are so funny.
So people are wondering if Bravo got the cameras going to talk with Wendy, talk with her families. Are they watching? See, Bravo loves this. Bravo loves if you're having issues. Bravo loves if you got problems with Popos. And then remember, Karen got released. I can't confirm or deny when Karen got released if that was an old clip of Karen or a new clip of Karen. Because somebody said those pictures of Karen was from a year or two ago. So that's the biggest thing. These people, these celebrities, love media attention. Be careful what you do in your real life outside of the cameras. Be careful what you do on the camera. This can affect your children, your life, and then a lot of times you'll notice that husband and wife are married, and then years later they're divorced. You got to be careful and protect your marriage for not just yourself, for your kids. So go on these reality shows. They love media attention, clicks, and views. It may not be healthy for you to go on. Look at all these celebrities that's had legal issues and problems, bad marriages, doing anything for a click and a view, and just trying to trend and go viral, living alleged outside of their means. So you got to be careful. These Bravo shows allege, and a lot of our feelings don't feel that they protect the family bond. It just does not seem healthy. Look at all these women going through divorce, taking somebody else's man, having issues at restaurants, grabbing hair. It's so concerning. Bravo is very interesting to me. Real Housewives of Atlanta, so toxic over the last 2 years. So toxic. So toxic. But people watch that and they just love the drama, the issues. But if you love your family, maybe reality TV is not the best thing for you. You got to protect your family. You got to protect your image. You got to protect your brands. Wendy and her husband are well-educated people. They're well educated. Remember how she was Miss 3 or 4 degrees, whatever, all these degrees she has. Wendy has been on different networks speaking about different things. So you guys just be careful. Don't break the law. Don't try and commit fraud. Don't falsify and allege anything to the police. Don't try and falsify anything to your alleged insurance company. This may not, and it's all alleged. I'm not a judge, jury, just giving our opinion. And, you're innocent until proven guilty in the court of law.
No, they wrapped the show. They were not, listen, they were not filming at all this season. They wrapped the show. Now look, they also were not filming when Karen was sentenced.
See?
And as we saw, they got the cameras back when she was released, and they weren't filming then.
See?
Now, do I think that they are going to film this? I think there's a high probability that we may, at the season finale of the Real Housewives of Potomac, whatever the ending scene is, I would not be surprised if it fades to black and it says X amount of weeks later, and then you see the girls reacting to this. You see Giselle and Ashley on the phone. You see the girls reacting to this, like they did with Karen's DUI conviction. And then you get to see possibly Wendy and Eddie talk about it as much as they can based on the severity of this case. So I would not be surprised if cameras are back up, if not this weekend, on Monday.
This weekend.
To get the women's reaction, because what's happening is some of the women are reacting on Instagram. They might be doing a small clip on Twitter, and it's rolling out. Bravo wants those reactions. Bravo wants the alleged toxicness. and the women's reaction. Be careful when you go on these shows because what you're doing on camera could affect your whole life. If Wendy and her husband have this concern, this can affect their whole lives, period. Be careful of the decisions you make. Be careful of the people you surround yourself with. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
You think this? I mean,
Carlos, you would have us have cameras up right now
See?
at the courthouse and the press conference.
Yes. So that's what I think is a probability of that happening. So look, Raindrop. The biggest thing is this though. Obviously, more information is going to be revealed. Again, I wanted to spend today's live focus just on what was presented to us from the press conference to the documents that were released to us. Who was hanging out with her kids, and she took time out of her busy schedule to break down the legal jargon for us because, again, we just don't know what so many things mean, and I think it's helpful to have someone of her stature on this platform to really break down things to us.
So I wanted to break that down. I hope that gave you guys a lot of information. Not giving legal advice, she was just giving her opinion, and so was the attorney. We will have to follow this case and what happens in regards to the whole case. We'll have to follow it. Okay, let me see if there was anything else I wanted to cover. We talked about, you're just not coming in. We did talk about Letitia James. I will play this clip for you guys again.
Yesterday afternoon, you may have seen, may have heard, New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was indicted by a grand jury on 2 different criminal charges. Combined, if she was found guilty on both, she could be serving 60 years in prison and over $2 million in fines. She campaigned on getting, put that in quotes, Donald Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money.
The days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
And she was indicted on 2 counts. Criminal counts, by the way. Yesterday afternoon, you may have seen, may have heard.
So there's that. We'll see what happens in regards to that.
Yes, may have seen, may have heard, New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was indicted by a grand jury on 2 different criminal charges. Combined, if she was found guilty on both, she could be serving 60 years in prison and over $2 million in fines. She campaigned on getting, put that in quotes, Donald Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money.
The days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
And she was indicted on 2 counts. Criminal counts, by the way. Yesterday after...
Okay, so there's that. Let's see if there was anything else. Tory Lanez allegedly drops to... Tory Lanez is dropping music. Can't play anything. He's had a lot going on. Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion, what's her name? Miss Kelsey. So there's a lot going on. It was last week, I think Tory Lanez had a hearing and they were trying to go on figure out what's going on with regards to Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion, and Mar-a-Lago Graham or something like that. So follow up with Tory Lanez, a lot going on. I saw something in the media. Is Tory Lanez, I don't know, I can't confirm or deny, is he asking for a pardon? There's that. Is he asking for a pardon? If you guys did not know, was it this year or end of last year, November, December? Tory had gotten injured in jail, and they were trying to remove him. I gotta watch what I say. They were trying to remove him from here. So Tory's had a lot going on. So you got to be careful who you associate yourself with, what parties you go to, and you just have to be careful. Tory's lane is forever changed going to that. Let's be very clear about that. Choices were made. He went, and that situation that night, it wasn't at the event. It was outside of the event. and what happened in that vehicle on the streets and all that forever changed his life, Megan's life, and Kelsey's life. So you got to be careful who you surround yourself with. You got to be careful what events you go to, for sure. I mean, this was a felon that posted his picture, his mugshot went viral. 5 years later, this man is a millionaire. Baby, color of his eyes. Remember how that picture went viral? And then didn't he leave? I gotta watch our show. Didn't he leave his wife? Okay, so we're gonna play this and then
you're not wearing the jewelry you claimed was stolen. Because again, don't play Wendy girl. If you go scam the insurance, make sure you're not wearing the jewelry you claimed was stolen. Wendy girl, what have you let this man get you into? Now, I'm not gonna say it's his fault. I'm gonna say they were scamming together. Look at the mugshots. They look like they said, and I'll do it again, and they'll do it again. Now, according to TMZ, they were booked last night, so I think they're still in jail. I don't know if they bonded out yet, but it said allegedly that they have been booked on 7 felony counts. Now, at the time the story was published, TMZ didn't have all the details until they reached out to the, Potomac or whatever. I think they're from Potomac. But it goes on to say that the couple had claimed that they found their bedroom ransacked after returning from a trip to Jamaica. That's what they told in this incident. And apparently it has something to do with an insurance fraud. And what's crazy about this is that they got caught because of their Instagram post. So in their police report, when they said their house got ransacked while they were in Jamaica and specific jewelry was stolen, child, Wendy was in an Instagram post with the stolen jewelry. Now, here's Wendy girl. If you go scam the insurance,
like the video,
make sure, because again, don't play with insurance. In their insurance report, they had stated all of these items that they had to itemize in their insurance was stolen, right? Follow me. So then, after the insurance company launched an investigation, they found out that all the stuff they claimed that was stolen, outside of the jewelry that she was caught wearing, they actually had returned that stuff to the store like months and years prior. So allegedly, let's say that they said, oh, our, designer Birkin bag, which was like $28,000 was stolen. The investigators have receipts that she actually returned the Birkin bag months prior and then claimed it was stolen to the tune of $450,000. So they were buying and returning stuff. I'm assuming buying stuff, real stuff, and posting it on Instagram and then returning it later. And then when they went to Jamaica, they claimed a fake insurance claim, like, oh, all of our stuff was stolen. But the police found out that that stuff had been returned months ago. Now, I'm going to keep y'all updated on the story because y'all know I love a good scammer story, child. I'm going to keep y'all updated because, again, don't play with insurance. And their insurance report,
and it's also being alleged that there was items alleged found in the house that the police collected. Okay, is there anything else? They sing really good together. If you did not know, go check out Netflix. They were from Netflix making the band. This group did amazing. A lot of groups did amazing. I literally thought they were going to win. There's 4 of them, 2 ladies and these 2 guys, but I like the way they sing. So I'm happy for the 4 of them. I thought they were going to win. It wasn't them. It was 3 other girls that won. So go check out the group season 4. But these 2 guys, great singers. Baby, the dude in the black, amazing. Some of his notes, amazing. The guy that's in the green, also amazing. I've been shouting them out for the last month or 2. I just like period. So well wishes to their new group. Kim, Courtney. It's interesting how Kim treats Courtney. Courtney just wants to be happy with Travis and her children. Kim sees it different. Who do you think is a better parent? Do you think the Kardashians are role models? Yes or no? A lot going on. Go back about 2 months ago. Aubrey O'Day spoke about her friendship with Kim. She had a lot to say about Kim and Aubrey and their relationship in regards to what really happened. A lot going on with Kim, Kanye. Kim was talked about in regards to what she had North in. Kanye's documentary came out. A lot going on. Ray J had different allegations about Kim, Chris, and Ray J. Go check that out. Right now, the Kardashians are suing Ray J for defamation. So a lot of us are very cautious about, is Ray J okay? Is what he's saying, is it factual? Ray J feels that he has receipts on different things. I can't confirm or deny what Ray J has is factual, but Ray J is being sued by the Kardashians for defamation because Ray J went live. He said some things. Ray J has done a live stream. Ray J has X, Y, to Z about Kim and Chris, and he has been sued. So I can't confirm or deny what Ray J is saying is true, and if he has an actual defamation case against them. But Ray J something else. Ray J went live, and who did he have behind him? Krishan Rock. I think that was plot planned. I do. So I can't confirm or deny what Ray J is saying is true or false. Is Ray J okay? Many people said he went live streaming. He said what he said. And has he or did he defame them? That's up to a judge, jury, in deciding if what Ray J is saying is factual or not. Because you got to remember, the K's and the J's talked about Ray J on the show. Oh, Kanye got this back. Remember how Kim was sitting on the floor? Kim was sitting on the floor. Kanye was a part of it. Oh, I'll never let them do da da. And then Ray J is basically trying to say he has receipts on different things. I can't confirm or deny if his receipts are receipting. A judge jury is going to have to decide that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in regards to the defamation. A defamation case. We'll see what happens. All right. Is there anything else? Okay. I'm not gonna play this. There's so much going on in regards to the Charlie Kirk situation. RIP to Charlie Kirk. Prayers go out to his friend's family. I do not agree with everything he said. He did debates with children, young adults. I say young adults, not children. He did different debates at colleges. Charlie Kirk did. He passed. He did different debates at different colleges. He passed away. Many people are trying to figure out what happened that day, what transpired that day. Prayers go out to his friend's family. He did major debates. Whether you agree or disagree, no one should have to lose their livelihood. There are children without a father. There's a wife without a husband. I can't confirm or deny what all happened that day, but it's very, very interesting and alleged. Last week, we talked about they're going to check into some of these conspiracy theories because there's been many people that did videos on this happened, that happened. How could that happen? You would have heard this from this ear. You would have heard that from that ear. You would have saw this exit, that exit. Let's pull all the cameras. Why was the camera that was behind Charlie removed? So there's a lot going on. And Candace Owens has had a lot to say. She is taking a break. She had said last 7 to 10 day break because she had a lot to say about what all happened to her friends. So there's that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, if you did not know, Diane Keaton has passed away. Remember her in a lot of different movies. Many people really like Diane Keaton. So RIP to Diane Keaton. Okay, everyone. We've been live for 2 hours. I didn't expect it. I thought I was going to go live. Real talk. I thought I was going to go live for 30 minutes, and I've been live for 2 hours. So there's still 67 people in the building. Please subscribe. We did hot topics, trending topics. We talked Donald Trump. We talked Wendy and her husband. We talked what's going on around the world. We talked Kardashians. We talked about pretty much a lot. So you're just not coming in. We covered a lot. That went by pretty fast. It really did. It does go by fast. I literally thought it was going to be live for 30 minutes. I did. So like the videos you guys come in. Don't forget to subscribe. So let me do my disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use. For purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the show. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. If all 59 subscribe, that's even an amazing day. So if you already subscribed, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe as you're coming in or going out. Replay game, super chats are welcome, $2, $5. Continue to hit the like, continue to hit subscribe. Everyone, goodbye. Have a great day. Be blessed. Have a great day, everyone. Be safe. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21.